Hello and welcome to another episode of Pain Nation with Ken McKim. I'm Ken, and tonight you are going to hear the story of Sherri Little, a bright, vibrant woman whose long battle with chronic illness and chronic pain came to a sudden and tragic ending in the summer of 2015. And the question we're here to ask tonight is, could some compassion on the part of medical professionals have possibly averted this tragedy? My guests tonight are Sherri's health advocate, Lisa, and her mom, Lynda, who are gracious enough to appear and share this story with you. Here they are. All right, and thank you everybody for watching another edition of Pain Nation with Ken McKim. I'm Ken, and my guests today are Lynda Mannion and Lisa Berry Blackstock, and I want to thank both of them for taking the time to be here today. We're going to be hearing about the challenges that are faced by far too many chronically ill people in this country when it comes to being taken seriously and the tragic consequences that can ensue from that indifference. So I'm going to start with Lynda. Tell us a little bit about Sherri. What was she like? What did she like to do? What kind of work did she do before the illnesses really took hold and changed her day-to-day existence?
She was extremely smart, beautiful, always searching for just searching the world for different religions, different beliefs, understanding different cultures. She loved to travel. She was extremely bright. Like I say, she graduated the top of her high school class, the top of her college class, got a master's. She was outgoing, but kind of held back at times because she wasn't sure how people were accepting her. For some reason, she had a little bit of a shyness there, but not too much. She was in a beauty pageant and won second place. She started out having a lot of joint and back pain when she was in her 20s and 30s, I would say. So she would try different things like acupuncture, massage. She worked at exercising constantly to try to keep her joints movable, and she just worked at herself so much to try to make everything right.
What was she studying in college?
At UCSB, she was studying economics because that's what her dad wanted her to study. That's not really what she wanted, she told me later. And at San Diego State, it was, humanities, I think, that she got the master's in. Or public health.
Oh, wow. Okay. So she was looking forward to an exceedingly bright future full of a great career and lots of interests in traveling. And
oh, yes, she was. I mean, she was an epidemiologist for San Francisco for 5 years.
Now, when did you first notice a change in her with this pain that she was encountering? What was it, what was later diagnosed as fibromyalgia, or was it the occipital neuralgia pain?
She and I did not see a whole lot of each other for many years because of her travels, but we did connect by email quite often. She told me about the occipital, but I didn't really understand what she was trying to explain to me. She said it happened when a doctor cleaned her ears out or something, so I just thought it was something that was going to go away, but then she kept complaining more and more about it. The fibromyalgia, I only heard about that in the last 3 or 4 years maybe, but it went along with the fact of the sciatica and the pain in her joints and all the rest of the body pains that she was having. As far as the digestive problems, she's had that for many years. It seems to run in our family somewhat, but.
So knowing all this, and she's had the family history, it sounds like, of inflammatory bowel disease and with the problems with the occipital neuralgia, when she would tell you about going to see doctors to get treatment for this, to get some relief, would you share with us what were her experiences? What did she tell you it was like going to doctors about these?
Mostly that they wouldn't listen to her, that she would bring in research and they didn't like that because they wanted to be the ones to decide what was wrong. They would maybe run a few tests and say nothing shows up, so then they would give her medication, which never seemed to solve the problems. It would help a little bit for a while. She would get elated because she was feeling a little bit better, but it never lasted. And she was just so discouraged with the medical field, at least the ones that she saw.
I want to talk a little bit to Lisa now. Lisa, Sherri had reached out to you last year, 2015, around July. She sounds like at that point in her life she was feeling a little down, a little desperate. She really was feeling like people weren't paying attention to her on the medicine side of things. Would you tell me a little bit about your interactions with Sherri, how that started, and what you two went through together?
Right. Okay. Well, first, I'd like to say that I work as an independent patient advocate nationally, and prior to being contacted, it was on Sunday, June 21st, 2015 at 6:21 in the morning. Sherri sent me an email through my website, which is Soul Sherpa, and she just wrote. I'm going to read it to you. It's very brief. I'm a 53-year-old who contracted C. diff over 2 years ago. 6 months of vancomycin killed the bug, but now I'm unable to digest even simple foods without horrific hours of cramping every single day. I have no life. I have tried everything from 2 weeks home, some kind of a transplant that I'm not really sure of, special diets, strong probiotics, 2 colonoscopies, endoscopy, etc. I've barely survived Kaiser HMO non-treatment. Starting July 1st, I will be with United Healthcare PPO. My problem now is to get into good care, quite possibly the removal of my colon before I die. I am at the limit of what I can do on my own. I used to be an epidemiologist. Whenever my research finds a good doctor, I'm not able to get a timely appointment, so I'm appealing directly. If you cannot help me, do you know someone who can? I am in San Diego, but willing to travel anywhere. So that was the first contact that I received from Sherri, 21st of June, 2015.
So you responded back to her, and what was the plan? What did you two decided to do going forward?
Okay, well, the plan was, let's see, I emailed her back at 9 that morning, and when we finally were able to connect, we decided that I was going to try to get an appointment for her at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, where I was a volunteer at the time, and where I myself underwent brain surgery in 2007 for trigeminal neuralgia. However, the nurse in the office said we were unable to obtain an appointment because we could not provide Sherri's previous medical records from Kaiser.
Okay.
And I was extremely concerned about Sherri's condition, knowing horrific chronic pain myself that nobody can see, that some people, including physicians, even wonder if you really are in pain. I wanted to get Sherri in there as close to July the 1st last year when her new PPO insurance went into effect. I was stymied every opportunity. I tried to make that appointment, and what I was told by the office was, if the pain is really that excruciating, take her to the emergency room, which is what we ended up doing on Friday, July the 3rd last year.
They told you So essentially, they just told you, go to the ER. We can't help you with anything. It seems like they were kind of flippant about it. So you did end up going to the ER together. Describe that experience.
Right. Sherri and I went about 3 p.m. on Friday, July the 3rd of last year to the ER, where we spent the next 10 hours, which is an extraordinary amount of time for anybody to be in the ER. It was the beginning of a long holiday weekend. I don't get the feeling that anybody at the hospital was interested in admitting anyone unless it was a true serious emergency that they could diagnose, because as everybody knows, all hospitals are affected like all businesses when there are major holidays, and that is, they're working with as little staff is as safe. Nobody wants to be in the hospital or going to the hospital unless they have to be over holiday. So I stayed with her until she was admitted about 1 the following morning, but it was a fight. It was a horrific fight, and 10 hours in the emergency room at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, which is one of the best medical centers in this country, if not the world, is completely unacceptable. When we were in the ER, it was only after I showed the ER physician a couple of the emails that Sherri had sent me talking about her excruciating pain, her inability to get quality medical care and a proper diagnosis, and her feeling as though she had no option but to take her life if that continued. I showed that 2 of those emails to the first ER, and all of a sudden things were different, and a psychiatrist was called to consult with Sherri, not to determine how much pain she was in or what a proper diagnosis was, but to see if she truly was suicidal. I made sure before I left about 11:30 on the morning of Saturday, July the 4th, that Sherri was comfortable, physically comfortable. We had a plan of care in place where she was going to be receiving a colonoscopy on Monday, July the 6th. I was going to be back at 6:30 that morning. She knew, and the staff knew, that because Sherri had signed a HIPAA release and I had provided my contact information on an information board in Sherri's room, as well as giving a card to each of the medical doctors as well as the charge nurse, that if anything came up and Sherri encountered any problem, I was available to be contacted until I returned on early that Monday morning. So I assumed that no news meant our plan that was in place would be set, and everything stayed fine until Sunday morning, the 5th of July, when I received a call about 8:32 a.m. from the charge nurse on the floor, letting me know that Sherri wanted to sign herself out against medical advice, that the charge nurse, it was notifying me because I was on the record as a person to be notified. I asked her if she would please page the psychiatrist because of the concerns I had. I thought maybe Sherri had become frightened. I really didn't know what had happened, but she didn't reach out to me. The charge nurse told me that she paged and spoke to the psychiatrist, and his response was he did not have enough cause to put Sherri on an involuntary 72-hour hold. And nor did he call me, which I think was a very grave error in judgment. I don't think that's suitable with following best practices at any hospital. All I know is I tried to reach Sherri and I received her voicemail on her cell phone, and I sent her emails, but I didn't hear back from her until the following day, which was Monday, the 6th of July, when she was supposed to be undergoing her colonoscopy. They were going to take some tissue samples to biopsy to see if her colon was diseased, as she thought. She had done a lot of research as an epidemiologist, and but the plan had changed very quickly, and I didn't have any contact with anyone at the hospital who had any control over keeping her there, at least waiting until I could get there to talk to her.
So she's discharged. Did she end up having the colonoscopy?
No, she was out of the hospital when I was going to be at the hospital at 6:30 on Monday morning, and she emailed me back and she told me that once I left, she felt like she was being bullied at the hospital, that she was quarantined in her room, that she wasn't allowed to open the window, and she told me that her pain medicines were being titrated or reduced, and I'm unable to confirm that because I wasn't there. But because she felt that she was being bullied and she told me that she was in physical pain, she did not feel as though she were in a safe place, and so she insisted on signing herself out, would not go back to the hospital with me. She said she'd only go back if I could get her an outpatient medical appointment, which I was unable to do. So I did not hear from her after the afternoon of Monday, July the 6th, and it was a couple of days later, on July the 8th, that I received a call from Lynda, Sherri's mother, who informed me that Sherri had been found deceased in a hotel room across the street from the hospital where I had hoped she would be helped.
Okay, Lynda, take me through this. Were you, did you know that all this was going on? She was at the hospital. She was attempting to be seen.
No, unfortunately, I didn't. I've been with Sherri for the last 6 to 9 months, 3-4 times a week, staying with her in San Diego and finding an apartment and everything. The last time I saw her, she asked me to go home for a few days. She said she needed some time on her own. It was the end of June that I went back, and she said that she'd let me know when to come back out and take her on some doctor's appointments and whatnot. She didn't contact me. I tried contacting her, and I couldn't get through to her. So I left a couple of messages on her phone and emails, but I hadn't talked to her for about a week and a half, and I was really getting worried. And I didn't know anything about Lisa at that point. I was just beside myself because why she didn't call me. She and I have had things going on through the years where Mom doesn't understand me. Mom, isn't doing what I need her to do, and she would get mad at me at times, and I guess I didn't understand well enough. But when I heard that she was at Cedars and I heard she had a patient advocate, I thought this is the beginning for her, not the end. This is what she's been working towards the last 2 years. It's to get new insurance and get in a new hospital and have somebody find something that they can do to help her. Because she wanted to start advocacy groups in the United States and help people. And she had a cruise planned for September. She had already paid for. So it's just so many things that don't make sense to me. So many things. And
there's just no answers, unfortunately. I know, and there's always unanswered questions. Lynda, what do you want people watching this? What do you want them to take away from this? What do you want to tell people who might have friends and loved ones, family members that might be going through something similar to what Sherri went through? What would you say to them?
First of all, you can't always see pain. Listen to your relative, your child, your whatever. Listen and try to help them the best you can. Don't desert them. Don't give up on them. Take them to as many doctors as you can. Do what they feel they need, because she was intelligent enough to know what she just didn't get. Try not to feel guilty, because of course I do. Because I should have been with her. And don't let hospitals and doctors, don't let them make you think that they're gods, because they're not. I don't think I'd ever go into a hospital again without somebody like Lisa.
Lisa, what would you say to people watching at home if they need to reach out to someone such as yourself? I mean, are there more resources available to people? I mean, patient advocacy is still a very a new field, kind of a young field that's developing. Right. There's much more of a need for it, unfortunately, as has been clearly exemplified by Sherri's experience. What would you like to tell people?
Well, I two things. One, as a person who suffered from insufferable chronic pain for many months before I was accurately diagnosed, I know what it's like having my first two doctors who misdiagnosed me. I know what it's like having your sanity questioned, but I also know what real pain is like. If people are truly in pain, that needs to be taken seriously. And as for any patient, whether it's a chronic pain patient or not, going to the hospital today is not like going to the hospital 15 or 20 years ago. There's a business model in effect with hospitals, with physicians, with medical insurance companies, and knowing what I know now and things that I've witnessed personally, witnessed with Sherri, and things that I continue to witness every day with clients, a person is not safe in any hospital by themselves. I recommend that someone be with them all the time, not because you're going to question their treatment, but just so you can be a witness and make sure that they're receiving care and they're not in pain. I don't think that our healthcare system in this country has retained a lot of the humanity that it used to have before it became a very big for-profit business. But I'm really concerned at the healthcare system that I see today, and especially with people like Sherri, who suffered from chronic pain. You don't have many advocates on your side.
Ladies, thank you very much. I appreciate both of you taking the time to share your experience with everybody, and I hope that we will see fewer incidents of this kind going forward. Something tells me that this is not going to be the last occasion of something like this happening. But thank you for taking the time to share. Hopefully this will help other people. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Lisa.
I want to thank Lisa and Lynda once again for agreeing to be my guests this week. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Send me them at ken@don'tpunishpain.com. You can also follow me over on Twitter @don'tpunishpain. If you know someone who suffers from chronic illness, I implore you, show them every ounce of compassion that you can. They're fighting a horrible battle, and they deserve your support, and they deserve your kindness and your compassion. That's all from the Pain Nation tonight. Until next time, I'm Ken McKim. You take care.